All right, could I have your attention? Could I have your attention, please? Just want to tell you a little bit of something about Papa, how this little gathering started. He had a couple of close calls about the last 6 months that had to take him to the emergency room a few times. But he was telling me about what he wanted to take place, you know, after his funeral and us have a get-together and all. And I told him, I said, Daddy, I said, why don't we just go ahead and have it before where you can be a part of it. So that's what we did. I'm glad that everyone showed up for it. It's a real good turnout. But tell you what, me and Barry and my brother Robert was blessed with a wonderful daddy that taught us a lot and raised us, and my mother too. We couldn't ask for no better parents than our mother and father. But Daddy taught us so much. I remember one time, I'm sure I wasn't about knee high, he took me squirrel hunting. It was up out on the Slappy land up here in Goat Rock, or some land they had leased. And he shot a squirrel out of the tree. I'm sure I wasn't about knee high to him then. And I remember I had a black pair of gloves on, so I run over there to pick that squirrel up. And when I did, that squirrel clamped down on my thumb. And man, he bit my thumb, and I was shaking like this, and I finally shook that squirrel off my hand. And it was bleeding a little bit. I think I still got a scar there. But brought him on back over. I think I killed him, brought him on back to Daddy, and Daddy just sat there and laughed about it. He knew that was a good lesson learned. Don't be picking up no wounded squirrels. But he's taught us a lot. He's taught me and Barry a lot about fishing and hunting. And I wouldn't take anything for the childhood we had. And Daddy is teaching us so much and took good care of us as all our aunts and uncles. Anytime we was at any of them's house, they welcomed us and treated us as their own children. And I appreciate all of them. But if anyone would like to say something or tell a Uncle Willie story or anything, but I think Barry wants to say something right now.
Yeah, Ricky, you said a lot about it, about Daddy teaching us everything. Daddy taught us a lot by example instead of just teaching. You could just watch Daddy and you was going to learn. You'd watch the way he treated people. When people come over, he'd work on their cars. You couldn't leave the house without a watermelon or some plums or peaches or tomatoes. He was going to give you something. He's give all his life. That's just the way he is. He'd give you his last dollar. But I wanted to tell about, Daddy taught us how to drive at a real young age. We had a little racetrack around the front of the house. And I hadn't been driving on the highway by myself but about probably a year, so I was probably about 12 years old. And I told Daddy I was going to go to the store. And he said, well, how about picking me up a can of Prince Albert while you're at the store? So I drove to 49 Chevrolet, and I went up the Oliver Road to Ed Messer's store and got Daddy's tobacco and got me something. And I was coming back down Lake Oliver Road, and I could see about a half a mile up the road, and there was just one car way up the road. So I just slowed down and run on out in Somerville Road and come on home, and that car turned in to drive behind me. And when I got out of the car, he got out of his car, and he was a plainclothes detective. And he said, son, he said, go get your daddy. He didn't ask me if I had no license because I wasn't but 12. I went in the house. I said, Daddy, somebody wants to see you. Daddy came out there and got to talking to him, and I just kind of eased on away. In about 10, 15 minutes, Daddy had a brown paper bag and had that policeman out there and was getting him some peaches and some plums. And the last thing I heard him say is, well, Mr. Dunn, if you're going to be letting him drive on the highway, get him to stop at that stop sign. But that's the way Daddy dealt with people. And, you know, we really were truly blessed to live in the time we did, be able to do the things we did, ride horses up and down the road, and all of the property that we was able to hunt and fish on.
That's right.
We were very, very lucky. You got something, Jeff?
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to say, Uncle Wilson, this is just a testament to you, all the family that's out here, how much we love and care for you. And you are an original character. That word's overused, and there's really not that many of them, but you are a character. Growing up, you know, we love to hang out at your place. You know, no rules, Wilsons. no rule, Willies. So we had some really good times there growing up. Just awesome times. I remember you and animals. You always had animals around. You remember you had the albino wharf rat and the raccoon together in a cage. And I said, Wilson, what are they doing together? Oh, they're good friends. They're good friends. Okay, so came out the next week, and the wharf rat was missing its tail and one leg. And Wilson goes, well, the raccoon kind of nibbled it off, but they're still buddies. So came out the next week, and it was missing 2 legs. Wilson goes, oh, they're still friends, but he just kind of nibbled it off. Of course, next week I came out, you know, that wharf rat was gone. So he finally went ahead and ate him. But it's just been a pleasure having you as an uncle. And I could just go on for hours on all the stories. I mean, it's just, you can't make stuff like that up. And, I mean, they're all true.
Randy, would you like to say anything? Anyone else like to say anything? Terry? Terry, would you like to say anything about Papa? All right.
One of the things I remember about Uncle Willie is that when you always went to his house, you were home. It didn't matter who you were.
That's right.
You were home. Our family reunions were always out there. We always had a great time. You know, he always treated us like one of his own.
That's right.
I remember when we were taping his last days out at his old place, and it was sad to see that we were having to leave there, because 45 years that was our old home place. I mean, that's where we all grew up at. Easters, Christmases, even Tawtaw's birthday, if I remember right. It's been a while back, but it was just a great place to go. Always great to see Uncle Willie, and you never knew what Uncle Willie was going to do. And if there was a snake around, he would always find it. I can remember, I believe it was in the Easter, there was a snake in the bushes right around the house. And Uncle Willie reached over and grabbed it and threw it out in the yard. Scared us all to death. But Uncle Willie's always been there. If you always needed him, he could help you out or whatever. And we absolutely, thoroughly enjoyed all that.
Appreciate that, man.
I tell you, Daddy, him and Mama, it wasn't but 3 of us boys, but it was like he had many more. All our cousins was really just like brothers and sisters. I mean, Cindy was the only sister, I think, but all the brothers, just like we had just a bunch of brothers and a sister. But I'm going to let Daddy may have a few words to say.
Well, ain't nothing too much left for me to say. Yeah, she's going to say, I think she wants to say a few words. I think my niece Cindy wants to say a few words. Ain't too much left for me to say. Y'all done said it all. But I appreciate it, Ricky, the fine, kind words you said. Randy Dunn, and kind words he said. Appreciate Randy and Barbie.
Cindy's got something.
Now, Cindy, you're Cindy.
Now, I heard somebody was saying my name over here, so I thought I'd better come over and see what was going on. I thought
our cousins was really more like brothers and sisters.
Oh, okay.
We had one sister, and that was you.
And it was pretty rough being the only girl with all the boys. It was never a dull moment, though. And I was thinking about how, most people ride horses. I can remember you and Barry out in the field riding the pigs. Or riding the hood of a car. I think Barry was the main one that did that.
Yeah.
So, I was just thinking about how I used to enjoy sitting in the kitchen. We'd all sit around the table, and Uncle Wilson and Daddy would tell stories, and I just enjoyed hearing about the old times, like the Mad Dog story. And then in the last few years, Uncle Wilson has been writing about those stories for the Dixie Living magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun to see those stories in print.
That's right.
Well, I'll turn it back over to the birthday boy.
That's right.
I appreciate them kind words, Cindy. And I couldn't have done that without Cindy. She always proofed my articles because I'm the worst speller in the world. Hey, Captain, come on around here. You're not leaving, are you? Well, you're on camera.
That's my favorite cousin.
Yeah, you're on
My favorite cousin.
you're on the news. Yeah, someone's got that. But I wrote articles about the old times, the good old days in Dixie Living. I wrote a couple for the Phoenix Citizen. I started off about the stories of Adelaide Park and Phoenix Citizen, then I started writing for Dixie Living.
He just talking, interviewing y'all.
Dixie Living, and I just always like to tell stories of the good old days. And that's just something I like to do. I wrote for Dixie Living magazine for about 4 or 5 years, and I'm thinking about starting back. All right.
I enjoy them.
Yeah, Catherine, my cousin, Catherine Butler, she always got one, and she said if I didn't start back writing, she was gonna whoop me.
That's right. I'm going to beat you up.
So I better start back writing. But would you like to tell a couple of words?
Not really.
Okay, Catherine.
Not really. But it's good to be here for your birthday.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that, Catherine. Well, I just appreciate everybody coming. All them kind words they said.
Ready to go skiing, Willie B?
Well, I wish I could, Billy. I used to ski. This is Billy Brown, and he's talking about the skiing, where we used to go up. I almost got my deck broke, water skiing, got 3 ribs broke one time. And I was actually skiing when I was 75 years old. I believe that was about the last time that I water skied. But we used to enjoy. I rode motorcycles. I got out there with my sons and grandkids, and I rode trail bikes and water skied with them.
We used to go shoot them doves and kill them
Yeah,
quails,
go
didn't we?
quail hunting and shoot them doves with Billy Brown, and then them used to shoot the doves. And we had them was a good old day. We had some good time.
Went fishing up at night too on the bottoms of
Oh yeah, we used to go up by in the bottoms and fish at night. And one time we got stuck. Me and Billy was up by fishing in the slappy bottom, and it come a rain, and we got stuck and had to spend the night up there. And we didn't have nothing to eat, so we caught one fish, and we got a 2-forked stick. We finally got a little fire built, put us some rocks around, and put it on 2 forked sticks, and we barbecued that fish. And me and Billy, that was our supper that night. You remember that, Billy?
Yeah, I
We
remember
had,
that
that
good.
was the best.
And I'm gonna go now, Willie.
All right,
and I'm
Billy.
glad I got to see you. You take care of yourself.
Man, I'm glad you come, Billy.
Boy, you done got to be 84. You know,
Hey,
I'm
I made it.
74, figuring to be 75, trying to catch up with you.
You're gaining on me, Billy. You're about to catch up with me.
All right, Wilson, take care, and we'll
All
talk
right,
to you later.
all right. Thanks for coming, Billy. All right, I guess so.
Birthday, Wilson.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you next year the same time.
Thank you, Barbara.
You bet.
Glad y'all come.
Yeah,
Okay.
always. Bye.
Bye. Well, Thelma, I think most people leaving, and that's about all I can think of say. All I think Thomas Roughton, my nephew, making all this possible. He's up in Union Springs, Alabama. And me and him go way back. Way back. I used to work on his lawnmower when he was about 10 years old. He come up here and they cut grass. And I signed for him to buy. Hey, little man, this is Cameron. That's my grandkid. Hey, Cameron. Say hello. Say hello.
Jesus for me, yes, I know, for the Bible, tell me so.
I'm glad you had a birthday, because it
Thank
sure
you,
was
Lorraine.
nice.
I'm so glad you
It
come.
was just wonderful.
I appreciate it. It couldn't
Got
have been.
so many. Do you happen to know how many people came?
Somebody was going to count them, but I think they give up after they got about,
I imagine
after they got
so.
about 75.
I
think
know,
they
there
give
was
up.
a lot of
But this is Lorraine
Sweet.
Smith, one of the, we always went, well, I call her Smith. What's your wife's name now?
Faust, F-A-U-S-T.
Faust, Lorraine's Faust. And we always go out once a month always and have our cousins get together
Yeah,
at the IHOP mostly.
right.
And we're going to have some more too.
All right.
I'm
Sure
gonna be.
will. I hope so.
I'm gonna be in charge
I'm the
of
next
it.
one, because you know I'm right behind you.
I'm gonna get that crowd together next month, and we're going out to eat. Yeah.
Because let's see, this is August, September, October, November, December. In 5 months, I'll be up with you. I'll be
You'll be
84 in
84.
January. Yeah.
Well, you're gaining on me. Thanks for coming,
Yeah,
Lorraine.
you got ahead of me.
And tell
But
her.
I'll catch up with you.
Yeah, wait him a lot. I said hello.
I
Next
sure
time.
will. I got to call them and see what
Read
they
the
got.
next book. Read the next book. I'm gonna be in. Don't go no.
When are you going to have a book out?
I'm gonna be in the next article.
All right.
I was gonna bring you a Captain. One I forgot it. I got the new book. I'm gonna
Were
take
you
a.
in it? Were you in
I'm
this?
not in it.
That's okay.
But I'm gonna take.
Always enjoy
I'm gonna
them.
take Captain Couple and
Yeah.
she'll give you one.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for coming, Lorraine.
All right.
Tom.
I just want to say one thing. I wanted to let you know that this Dunn family, I couldn't have been born into a better family, and that you have been the best pawpaw anyone could ever have.
That
right? Yes, it is.
I tell you, I'm on. That's some deep.
That's deep, ain't it,
Deep
Mama?
talk. Deep talk, I tell you. Almost made me cry.
Well, don't let it do that. Here, you can come over here. That's all I had to say.
Let me say something. Pawpaw, even though we had difficulties, we're still friends. You furnish me in watermelons, anything I need, you would give it to me, and we are real good friends.
I appreciate that. Even though we're separated, we're still good friends. This is Chandler, my grandson. Great grandson. He wants to say something.
Hello. Hey.
Hello. Hello.
All right, I'm ready. Here we go. I'm Charlotte Dunn. I'm Wilson Dunn's daughter-in-law. I've been in the family ever since I was 17 years old, and I'm 50-something now. Me and him has been through some rough times, some good times, and we're still going through the good times. And I want to thank him for everything that he's taught me, how to graft trees, how to plant vegetables, and how to plow. Even one time I was a mule one time for him with a push plow. So me and him got a big kick out of that. So I just want to tell him that how much I love him, and I appreciate him being a daddy to me, a friend to me, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Charlotte. You just said all that because it's true. Yeah, everything she said, I appreciate it. But there's some good people. I got some good kin people, some good friends. Everybody here is good people. There's a big crowd, about 75, 80 people here today, I believe. And I can't thank them enough. No way I can thank all these people enough. And I can't thank Thomas Roughton enough. But I remember Thomas when he got his first guitar. He bought it by cutting grass. I fixed his lawnmower, broke down, so that he could get out there and cut grass. And then he took me to a pawn shop over in Columbus. Because he was on the age, they wouldn't let him buy something on times, on credit. So I signed for Thomas. It was a double neck. What kind of guitar? It was a double neck, steel guitar. I didn't know what in the world. I thought something was wrong with it. It had two necks. Thomas said, that's what I want. I signed for it. And Thomas made every payment on that guitar until he got it paid for. And he went on to be a famous musician, played in his band, had his own club, and played had his own band and all. I think one band called the Satellites, because that was the name of his car, a Plymouth Satellite. And it was Satellites. And I guarantee you he could play that steel guitar. He could play anything. He could play any kind, just regular guitars, and he always had a good band. And I appreciate it, all that, Tom. Love you too, Tom. And Granny Cameron, my ex-wife, Virginia, I appreciate them words. I tell you what, if it hadn't been for you, you helped raise them 3 boys up, and you was the one that disciplined them. I wasn't punish them, I wouldn't whoop them when they needed it, but she did. And it took Robert to he might have made a lot of trips from Montgomery when he had polio. Had his leg operated on, and a brace, special shoes. And she made a lot of trips. Atlanta and Montgomery. And when Robert got grown, he was able to walk both his legs. One of them was 4 inches shorter. When he got grown, they're about the same size. And he got a job, drove a car, and got married. And I give Virginia most of the credit for that. So thank you. All right, I just want to thank everybody for coming today. I think my granddaughter Kayla wants to say a few words.
Ooh, it's a microphone. I wanted to say that thanks for Papa being in my life, and I love him to death, and he's more than anything, and he schooled me rotten, and so, yeah. Love you.
I love you too, baby.
Here, you can have that back.
Thank you, Kayla. But I just about raised Kayla. When the mother was working, I used to have to take her to daycare. And sometimes I even had to change the diaper, and I hated that. but I did take care of her while the mother was working. And I love all of my grandkids, every one of them. I guess that's about all I got to say right now. Thanks, everybody.